everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we will be discussing how I design my characters and kind of going over the history of how they've been designed over the course of like 5 years. Designing characters has always been a challenge for me because I don't really know what I'm doing yet. I'm just kind of putting stuff together and hoping that it works. And I'm sure you'll definitely see that as we go through all my characters here. But let's just get started. My first ever character was a pony Sona that was supposed to represent me. I drew it digitally once. It was this white unicorn with this like caramel brown hair that faded into this pink, and it had this purple flux-like substance up its arms because I was absolute trash for the Yogscast. I mean, I still am, but like, it was really bad. I only have this one drawing of it, and it's on paper, and it's from like 4 years ago, and you won't see any more paper drawings because I hate drawing traditionally. After I designed that first OC, I immediately got into digital art, so I had to create a pony Sona that I could use for digital art. The pony Sona that I ended up creating is the one you see me drawing right now, or redrawing right now. It is this purple and pink alicorn OC with neon blue hair and orange sparkles and a golden crown and these little earrings and these socks and the small drawing that's right there that says Willow pretends I don't exist is 100% accurate because I refuse to acknowledge this character's existence. She was the worst thing I've ever created. She was a mess of color, and I just threw what I liked onto her, and I thought it looked good at the time. I drew multiple pieces of art of her, including ones with my first ever girlfriend and an old friend of mine, and it was a disaster. But here we are, and she's one of the main reasons that I decided to do a video like this, because I've been wanting to design her for forever, so we'll see what she looks like at the end of all of this. But let's continue on. The next character that I created is the first pony Sona that I will actually acknowledge is real. And her name is Evie. Well, it's Evie now, but she used to be called Willow. Evie is this pastel purple Pegasus with red hair, because it's not ginger, it's red, with red hair that looks an awful lot like Twilight, but with a slightly different color palette and no horn. And I hate Twilight Sparkle, which is why this happened. I know that it's really backwards to think about it this way, but I designed this character to replace Twilight Sparkle, and that was the design for my first pony Sona. I want to kill Twilight, that's it. Shortly after I designed this edgy little Pegasus, I designed a character named Code, who is still very dear to my heart. She is a blue earth pony with a long tail, and she is an alien. Her full name is Code 1533C, and she is from another planet. And all I can tell you about her design is that I liked the colors, so I used them, and I just kind of threw everything together and made her an alien because why not? She could have been anything she wanted, but she was an alien, so here we are. I didn't know what to do with either one of these characters, so I introduced them, and they met, and shortly after they met, I was like, yo, they'd make a good couple. And so their ship was born. Now, these two had nothing in common, honest to God, and I forced their stories together. I was like, hey, one day Willow was walking around and Code landed right in front of them in their spaceship, like they crash landed, and then they just got together, they smooched, the end, and yeah. But someone really liked this. Someone loved this idea, and that someone was Shimmer Strike on DeviantArt. Shimmer Strike contacted me and told me that they had drawn some fan art of my characters, and I was so excited. I thought to myself that I was doing something right. I was like, oh, I've got this. I have good character designs. People are just drawing my characters. Oh my god. I thought I was hot shit. I wasn't. I totally wasn't. But I thought I was. And we talked back and forth for a while, Shimmer and I. And eventually, Shimmer designed their first kid, who is named Zenolia. And Zenolia's like my baby. She's also my dog. But that's something else. They also have another kid, Code and Willow, Evie, whatever I've been calling her, LMAO. They have another kid whose name is Cordenza, who is really extra, and as far as I'm concerned, not canon. Like, I designed a character that was based off both of them, and I was going to sell it, and I got attached, and then named it Cordenza, and said this is their new kid. And everything was happy and great for a while, and then my character Winter got designed. And for those of you who don't know, Winter was not designed by me. Winter was actually designed by a good friend of mine, Mio. And I am hoping I'm saying that right, because I always say Mio. So Mio, if you're listening to this and you know who you are, I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. But Mio was the original designer of Winter, and I fell in love. I paid 5 DeviantArt points for Winter, and I feel like that's unfair. Like, I owe Mio a shit ton because this character means so much to me. So I drew Winter, and I gave her a little reference sheet, and then didn't use her for the longest time. And then Trot came along. For those of you who don't know, Trot is my best friend / ex-girlfriend, so we used to date. So the second that Trot came in, I was like, oh shit, gotta draw my character with hers. Ooh woo. So then those two got together. They have kids. One of them is one of my friend Keith's old characters. I think her name was Echo. So we have our kid Echo, and then there was another kid. Oh, Jenny. It was Jenny and Echo, and Jenny's in my newest meme. So if you haven't seen the Ooh Woo meme, gotta go check it out because Jenny's in it. But anyways, so we had those two kids, and I commissioned so much art of Winter, and so much art of Winter and Outlet, which is Trot's character. And there was just so much art. And then came my current Pony-Sona, which is Willow. Shortly after Willow came into play, so the real Willow, the Willow that you see like damn near everywhere, the old Willow had to be rebranded. So I made the old Willow, the purple Pegasus, into Evie. The backstory there is Code and Evie both got a facelift, and Code used to be this peppy, happy, bouncy alien girl, and she became this cold, silent, almost monster. And Willow became Evie, who Willow used to be this, once again, peppy and like, oh my god, horse, and she became a drug abuser. That's okay. We need to take 2 steps back. She became a drug abuser. She became an alcoholic. Actually, I don't think she became an alcoholic. She didn't become an alcoholic. I take that back. But she was a drug abuser. They have their kid. Their kid's massively fucked up. So Zenolia is now massively fucked up. Little emo kid. The whole town that these characters live in think that their family is the strangest thing fucking ever, because the backstory is still the same. Code still crash landed, and Willow still took them in. And then they had their kid, but fuck. I keep calling them by the wrong name. So Evie now, that's her name. Evie is actually dead right now in canon. She on some prescription, and she was found dead 2 days later in her study. So the point is, Willow is dead, and Code is just gay. Also, by the way, scooting back, a few good paces. Code chopped Willow's wings off, and that's a whole story in and of itself, so I'm not going to get into that. But Code chopped Willow's wings off, and instead of reattaching the wings, Willow decided to get a horn. It doesn't work, it's just for aesthetic reasons, but whatever. So that's how Willow becomes a unicorn. With the creation of Willow and the redesign of the old Willow into Eevee, Winter got redesigned as well. Nothing really got changed that much about her design, but now she's Winter 2.0 and yay. Shortly after all of that happens, I come across an old character of mine named Queen. And Queen was a disaster of a design as well. They were also developed around the same time that this purple and pink alicorn bitch was. And they were black with some light gray markings and orange and blue hair because I was obsessed with the Yogs cast. And I saw their character design and I'm like, oh, I love this character. And I remember drawing them. I'm like, oh yeah. And they have a girlfriend who I then remembered. And I was like, shit, I gotta do something with these characters. So I pulled them up and I started drawing. And I drew a new version of Queen, and I was like, yeah, this looks really good. And then stopped. I just straight up stopped. I never posted it. I never started on her girlfriend Quality. Those two, I just left them. I was like, okay, I'll get back to those later. In comes Winter 3.0. So now Winter is on version 3 from their original design, and this is by far my least favorite version of Winter ever. I wanted a nurse character because I got really into Overwatch and I really liked Mercy, and I was like, I need a nurse character. And my first thought was, yeah, let's make Winter a nurse. So I pulled her hair up and I took away all of her energy. Like, I drained it out of her, and she went from this party planner to a happy but very boring nurse. And it turns out Trot, who is the owner of Winter's wife, didn't like that. Fucking Trot didn't say jack shit to me until way later. So I updated Winter. Winter is now a nurse. I hate everything about this design. I just pulled her hair up and made her look gross, and I hate it. After the whole Winter debacle, Willow got an update, and this is where Willow's pigtails first came into play, because Willow has had pigtails now forever, and it was because of this artwork that I commissioned. The artist, wonderful artist by the way, made my character have disheveled pigtails in the picture, and I was like, yes, I support this. So I drew my new reference with a disheveled pigtail look as like the sad look, and that's still canon. Like, when my character gets tired or depressed, etc., their hair becomes more blocky instead of curvy and roundy. But yeah, that's where the pigtails came from. And they also came from this piece. Fantastic piece, by the way. This piece helped me decide how to draw the pigtails from the back, because yes, it's so important. This piece, also important. This artist, fantastic. Go follow them. After Willow got his update, I suddenly realized that Queen and Quality never got an update. I was like, oh shit, I still have those to do. So I dug up the old file, and I looked at the Queen that I had drawn that I was happy with at the time and said, gross, this doesn't match her personality at all. So I recolored that version and sold it. I didn't even think I sold it, actually. I recolored that version and I gave it to a friend because I liked the way it looked, but it wasn't the character. So I just recolored it, sent it off. So then I started on the third and final version of Queen, and I knew right away that I wanted them to be drawn together. So I threw Quality in there too, because they're girlfriends. I couldn't split them up. And those two have what I consider some of my best work. Like, their designs are simple but memorable, and they stand out compared to some of my other characters. And the way that Queen's hair is set up is, I love the gradients that I put in there. And the white that contrasts really nicely with the gradients, and the black with the white. It's just, Queen's design all around is one of the ones I'm most happy with. Like, 10 out of 10. Quality a little less so, because I just didn't know what to do with her. But I think she looks good as is right now. And they're really perfect together. They have their own kingdom and stuff, and there's a lot of lore there, but I'm not even gonna touch that because, once again, another video. After Queen and Quality, I decided that Willow needed a new ref sheet again. And I know that the two ref sheet changes seem really close together, but it was actually a really long period of time. And I got frustrated with the way that people were drawing Willow at the time because he wasn't looking like I wanted him to. So I updated his ref, and this ref isn't even available to the public. That's the best part about this ref. I never finished it. I started it. I'm happy with how it looks still. And I started it like 2 months ago. But I haven't posted it anywhere. I've given it to multiple people to commission artwork of him, and it all looks fantastic, but it's not published anywhere publicly. Like, it's not on my Tumblr, it's not on my Twitter, etc. So there's this version, and this version of Willow has the most love put into it. And here's where I'm going to start to get into detail about how I designed Willow. Willow has been, as I previously mentioned, built up around pieces of work that have been done of him. Like, the pigtails came from this piece and that piece, and like the little wings and how they behave and how they tilt down or up depending on mood, that came from this art piece. Again, seriously, this art piece is like one of the best things I've ever commissioned. And the hooves and the freckles and all of that have developed over time, because it used to be little freckle boys. The X in his ear, the X in the ear is tying all the way back to Twilight, and so are the bangs. Like, the bangs are literally modeled after Twilight Sparkle's bangs, and this is still dating back to when I wanted to murder Twilight Sparkle. The collar has been a new addition because I felt the character needed a little extra somewhere in their design. The bright yellow and red gradient bell is kind of reminiscent of the gradient in Mercy's wings. Same with the cutie mark. The gradient on the little, like, okay, the cutie mark is the rainbow with, like, the little heart shape. That's totally not something else. And the wings, the floaty wings. Oh my god, the floaty wings. The only reason those are in play is because I wanted my character to look like this other character that I had at the time, who was basically Castiel from Supernatural. And the only reason Castiel had these wings is because I hated wings, and I didn't want to draw them. And now I love wings, and I love drawing them. And then there's little details, like there's a scar underneath his belly, and that's from when I got my gallbladder removed, which is a story that I will tell. And the tail is not a real tail. Publicly gonna expose myself here. The tail is a butt plug. This has been canon for 3 years, I want to say. It's been canon since as long as I've had the character, basically, because somebody who I will not name questioned what it was. And I said it was a butt plug because I thought it was funny at the time. I was like, oh, it's a butt plug and it has fake hair attached to it. And that just became canon over time. So my character doesn't even have a tail. It's a butt plug. Surprise, motherfucker. And then way more recently, I've given my character, in both human and pony form, a pet. Their pet's name is Nox. In human form, you'll notice that it's a black cat, a normal black cat, but in pony form, you'll notice that it's kind of a ghostly black cat, and that is to honor Nox's legacy And Knox was our cat who sadly passed away earlier this year. And when he passed, I wanted a way to stay close to him. So I decided that my character needed a kind of a familiar. Not necessarily, I mean, maybe if you consider certain pieces of work, but more of a pet. So he's always with me. Moving on, my pony Sona, Willow, actually does have a partner like all of my other characters because my characters aren't allowed to be single apparently. And Willow's partner is Dreamcatcher, and Dreamcatcher is owned by my friend Matt. And Matt and I are pretty close, and we have a kid. We have 2 kids. One doesn't have an actual character design yet, but that's the little fuck Joey. Okay, Joey. Oh, woo. But yeah, we have Joey and we have Keith. And Keith actually has a design because Keith's a cool artist. And you should totally go follow Keith wherever they're posting these days. I'll leave a link down in the description. And Keith is also Trot's kid. So it's kind of okay. I'm gonna try to explain this family tree real quick because holy fuck. Winter and Owlet, Trot's character, are still currently dating. And Willow, so my current pony Sona, and Dreamcatcher, Matt's pony Sona, are dating. But if we go outside of characters for a minute, I used to date Trot in real life, and now we're best friends. We broke up, and I don't date Matt, but we're fake married. So Keith was Trot and I's kid, and when we got divorced, we shared custody of Keith, and then I got together with Matt, and Matt adopted Joey, and Joey and Keith are brothers, and like Keith is related to Trot through divorce, and Keith is related to Matt through marriage, and oh my god, if anyone can make sense of this, good luck. Like, good on you. Holy fucking shit. We have one more character to cover. This whole video was probably a waste of time. Like, I probably went about this all wrong, but we got one more character to cover, and that is my girl, Winter, who has gone through one last final change. Holy shit. Returning to her roots, she became a cheerleader. So I brought back, I ditched the doctor nurse thing. I ditched that whole thing, and I made her a cheerleader. And I brought back her armbands from her original design, and I gave her a bright pink bow and a little green band-aid on her nose, and I made her a cheerleader because that seems perfect for her personality. The personality that she should have had all along, where she's happy and peppy, and she just wants to make people smile. And I think it's, honest to God, perfect for her. And she's got a version with her hair up and a version with her hair down because Trot told me, circling back around, Trot told me that she liked when Winter's hair was up. So I put Winter's hair up in one version just for Trot. And then Trot, was so happy when I showed her the new version because it was no longer this sterile doctor. It was back to the way Winter should have been the entire time. So, yeah. Thank you all for following me on this crazy, wacky journey. I, honest to God, don't know how much of this you're going to hear. I'm probably going to cut a bunch of bits out and then talk about some more stuff and cut that in and, so. But I hope that you enjoyed listening to it all at least, and you've made some sense of it. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!